Welcome to Thoughts Can Change Your Life with me, Reverend Wolak. We're here each and every day as we explore life. Why do we explore life? Because it's what we're meant to do. We're meant to have greater and greater and greater experiences. So what came to me today is, why is it that smart people who are really intelligent, know what to do regarding being in a situation, being in a relationship, being around a group of people, and they know in that situation and what they're doing, it's not good for them. They don't feel good, they're miserable, they have anxiety, they're anxious, all of these things. Why is it they won't leave? Why is it they won't do what would cause change? It's a great question. A lot of times, to the best that I can understand, we stay in a situation because we've been programmed. Not only have we been programmed, let's talk about, let's say you've got parents that are not really in the right place for you. They're abusive, verbally, mentally, whatever it is. And yet we continue to keep that relationship with those parents going, even though it is to the detriment of our own life, our own development, our families. Why is it we stay there? Well, first off, because our mom and dad conditioned us to that. Conditioned us to, we're there to please them. Number two, society has created this whole narrative that we must be good children. We must obey our parents. That's really interesting, isn't it? We do that. Why is it? I'll just take COVID, for example. Why is it that so many people get COVID and they don't do anything to treat themselves? They don't take vitamins. They don't take things like Z-Pak. They don't take steroids. They don't take Mucinex. They just sit because there's a narrative, just stay at home and do nothing. But if you get real bad, go to the hospital. Wait a second. Think for yourself. One of the best things people can do with COVID, I wasn't going to go here, but I am, is to get a vitamin infusion. Not going to do you any harm. I'd forgotten about that when I had COVID. I was reminded about it after the fact. People stay in relationships or situations because it feeds them. They get attention. People will stay sick to get attention, to be nurtured. People will stay in a relationship because for whatever reason they were brought up, any attention is better than no attention. So if they're getting verbal abuse, they're staying in it because they're getting attention. People stay in relationships or situations because they have a fear of failure. Again, ask the question, what is failure? Failure to me, Ian says, I was faking COVID for her attention. You sneaky little rascal, Ian. My wife couldn't say that because when I get ill, I want to be left alone. I'll take care of myself until I get to a point where I can't. Here's the other reason people stay in relationships or situations, even though it's detrimental to them. And this is maybe the biggest one. Because it's a habit. We have habits, and to break a habit is huge. It takes work. Let me ask a simple question. A lot of people that are listening to this or will listen to this know that sugar is not good for you. It causes you to gain weight. It breaks down your immune system. It's addictive. People know that, don't they? How many people out there are drinking sodas every day? But then there are people who are saying, well, I'm drinking diet sodas. Have you researched aspartame? They know this information. People know this information. Why is there not a change happening? It's a habit. Habits, believe it or not, they're the greatest addiction we've got. And not all habits are bad. Some habits are really good. Why don't you give me a clue? Tell me a good habit you got and a habit you would like to change. Write that in the comments. Love to talk about that. What's going on in your life that you know you should change, and what's going on in your life that you don't think anything should change? I've got great habits. I got a habit where I meditate every day. I'm not breaking that habit. The benefits are too good. Here's another habit. I talk to you every day at 8 a.m., except Sundays. Sundays at 7:30. But I talk with you every day. I cook healthy food every day. That's a good habit. I go to the gym almost every day. That's a good habit. I walk my dog every day. That's a good habit. I spend specific amounts of time talking and communicating with my wife and my family and the people that are closest to me. That's a good habit. Bad habits? Sometimes I waste time on social media. That's not serving me. I've cut back, but boy, is social media addictive. Really addictive. I know you've got that habit. We all do. Maybe some of us don't. But then I asked the question, how'd you find me if you weren't on social media? Because that's where I'm at. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm trying to be there for people to get different information to change. And David says, I have a habit. I wake up every day. I don't know, David, if that's good or bad. Ian says, my habits are running and stretching. Bad habits are wasting time on social media. Yeah, I knew that. Christy's right. Hey, good morning from Colorado. It's colder there than it is here in Dallas. Let me think. Why is it we so need other people's approval? Wouldn't it be great if our own approval was enough? I know where I want to take this conversation. I want to take this conversation in honor, in my mind, of the greatest rock and roll singer ever, Meatloaf. Meatloaf, whether you know it or not, was my number one. I loved him. I loved everything he does. I know the lyrics to every song. I sing the songs. My family, I'll tell you a story. It was about 12 years ago, 13 years ago. My niece Rebecca was living with us. And the boys, Stephen, Matthew, I, Jean, and my niece, we're all in the minivan. We had a minivan at that time. And we were driving to the auto show here in Dallas. And we put on Meatloaf. Put the CD Meatloaf in, Bat Out of Hell. And the second it came on, all four Wolaks sang every friggin' lyric at the top of our lungs. My niece just looked in disbelief. People say maybe this agape thing's a cult. No, for me, Meatloaf was a cult. Anyway, Meatloaf had a song. It was one of his most famous songs. And that song was 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad. And the lyrics were, the chorus was, I want you, I need you, but I'm never gonna love you. Remember that? But I changed the lyrics right away. I want you, I love you, but I'm never gonna need you. And I was criticized and ridiculed for that, because I'd be in discussions with couples and stuff like that. And I said, I want my wife. I love my wife, but I don't need her. This is going back to what, 1977? I've always, for whatever reason, inside realized that I didn't need anybody. And maybe that's why I've never been a part of a clique. I've never felt a need to belong to any particular group, because I truly believe that it comes within me. And I remember this really well. At 15 years of age, I was in the seminary to be a Catholic priest. I was at, it was called Cardinal Moody Latin School in the center of Detroit. And so I actually lived away from home 5 days a week. And then I would go home for weekends at 15. And I can remember so many, every day, I would be walking. There was this cobblestone walkway that went all around. This was a huge campus. And I would walk on that cobblestone by myself every day. I would talk to myself, or I would have conversations with what I believed was God at the time. And believe it or not, that got me into seeking my own approval. Because if I went to seek my parents' approval, I was never going to get it. They were not people that did that. So for whatever reason, that event, that 1 year that I spent in the seminary, caused me to fall in love with me. I got LP from the Netherlands listening. I love it. All you need is self-love. Your LP, dead on. Self-love means self-acceptance. And when you've got self-acceptance, you don't need anything else. You've got it all. And I'm going to tell you something. When you have self-acceptance, you're going to attract people to you, because people are going to want to be around you. Christy goes, oh my God, I thought that being alone was a way of life. All our lives we're alone. Everything that happens to us, we make up. Annette, a vitamin infusion is where a nurse practitioner comes to your home and does an IV that injects all these vitamins, a very high dose of vitamins, which in turn works with COVID. If you're tired all the time, Annette, you need to go to a doctor and get a B12 shot, or get your blood work done because your iron level's real low. I'm not a doctor, but I've done a lot of research. You either have really low iron or you need some B12 in your system, girl. Anyway, well, I've done a bunch of talking today. I didn't think I was going to talk this long, but thank you for being with me today. Hey, if you haven't yet, know that I wrote a book. Came out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. The Power in You. You can find it on Amazon. I'm getting people who are reading it. Most people haven't finished it because I tell people don't read it fast. Read a chapter a day, if that. Really absorb it, because this book is a practical book about you claiming your power back. So you don't need the approval of others, so you can break those habits that are no longer serving you. So with that, I'm going to say to you, Heidi, you got it. We'll post a selfie on Facebook with you and tag me on it. This way we know, let people know everybody's got it. It spreads. We're actually creating a need for people to want to be a part of this. Oh my God, how funny is that? Anyway, know that I love you simply because I accept you just like you are. Have a great day, everybody. Aloha.